BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm your thirsty guy for BodyBags, and this week I am doing Cobweb. And Cobweb's a pretty solid movie, I'm not gonna lie. So this movie came out to theaters a few months ago, or maybe a little longer than a few months. I wanted to watch it in the theater because I thought it was interesting, plus there was an actor in it that was like, what? He's in it? Let's check it out. I just never really had time though to go watch it. I was like, oh, that's too bad. But once I saw that it was at Walmart for about like $10, I was like, why not? Maybe it's 15, but still. Got it, and I was like, hey, this is a good time to review it. I'm gonna review it now. Let's go. So I watched it, and when it was all said and done, I thought it was a well-made movie that was really it was really interesting and kind of sad. The ending was a little sad. I don't think I should. I'm not gonna spoil it, although I could. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's like the movie goes. I'm just gonna give you the rundown of what the movie's about. An 8-year-old boy tries to investigate the mysterious knocking sounds that are coming from inside the walls of his house, unveiling a dark secret that his sinister parents have kept hidden from him. And so when this movie, when you start watching this movie and whatnot, you're watching the movie essentially through the perspective of the boy, and like everything that happens is from his perspective. But when you're all done watching the movie and you take everything to account, you kind of think, sinister parents. Not really. I mean, for the most part of the movie, it looks like it, but that's because you're looking at it through his point of view, and his point of view of his parents is shifting into a very negative one. But by the time the movie's over, and by the time you understand, like, the plot twist kind of thing, then it's like, well, plot twist. The reveal, I guess, at the end of the movie, then it's like, makes sense. The ending was very reminiscent to the ending of Malignant. Kinda. Not like the same, obviously, but it was the same kind of feeling. Mainly because in Malignant, when you have the reveal, that's kind of when all the action and whatnot starts happening, like bam, bam, bam. When you get the reveal for this, or like when XYZ happens, the only reason a lot of action would happen is if a lot of people had shown up, and there was good reason why people would show up, because storyline, whatnot, it makes sense, kind of. But it's still kind of like screwed up because like the parents are like, they're very overprotective. In which case it's kind of like an eh. But then in the same time, it's like they never told their son. And this movie would have been so different if they told their son, or at least at some point they're like, son, we need to tell you something, kind of thing. Let's go over the actors in this story. We got Lizzy Caplan. She plays the mom. She was in Castle Rock, that show. She was in the TV series of Das Boot. That was a few years back. She was in The Disaster Artist. That movie about I forget the guy, but the guy that made The Room, that independent movie. The Disaster Artist is about that. Pretty interesting movie. 127 Hours, which is about that guy. A true story about that guy that got stuck in that hole in the ground, like Arizona or whatever, and he was stuck there for 127 hours, and the only way he could get out is if he cut off his arm. Tough. And she was in Hot Tub Time Machine, which is pretty solid because that's whatever. But I guess the big horror thing that she was in Cloverfield, so that's pretty cool. Cleopatra Coleman, she plays the boy's teacher. She's in stuff, but the only horror movie that she's in that's like, hey, but it kind of just came out, was in Infinity Pool. Woody Norman, he plays the boy, and he was in the War of the Worlds miniseries that came out a few years ago, and he was also, and I didn't realize this when I was watching it, I guess, because this movie is kind of dark, and I was a little tired when I was watching it. And then when I watched the other movie that he was in, it was also kind of dark and whatnot. But he was in The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I thought was a really nice movie. So it's pretty cool that he's in 2 movies that come out in the same year, both being pretty solid movies, I would say. And then, of course, the reason I wanted to watch this movie in the first place, my guy, Anthony Starr, Homelander. But that's just funny. When you look at his resume, his filmography, it's like he started up in the 90s, but it was like TV shows and whatnot. It looks like maybe they were big at the time, but like when I'm looking at it, it's like, I don't know what this is. It looks like a bunch of nothingness, and maybe at some point he did something pretty good in like the late 2010s or the mid 2010s that ended up giving him the Homelander role in The Boys, which is kind of like how everyone knows him, right? He's a big meme now. And then of course he's in this. Although I was thinking that he was someone else. He ended up not, of course. So that kind of sucked a bit. But anyway, the director Samuel Bodin. This was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was one of his first movies to make, or this might have been his. Nope, I'm wrong. This is not. He what did he do? He did. How about if he did show. I guess the only thing he did that people might know would be Batman Ashes to Ashes short. It came out in like 2009. I don't really know what it is, but like this looks like his first actual thing that people would know, right? All the other stuff is like shorts or kind of like whatever stuff. He's working on a new movie called Lights, but there's nothing said about it yet. Poster looks okay, I guess. I don't think there was really any music in it. I mean, these are typical violin or like your typical type of like jump scare music, because there's jump scare music in this movie. But yeah, I mean, this was not a bad movie. It's just I kind of felt really bad at the end because of like what happens to the parents. Because it's like, it's kind of like when you're a kid growing up and like your parents tell you not to do something and you don't trust them and you don't listen to them, and then you find out for yourself that, oh, I was wrong, they were right, except there's kind of no backing out of, oh my god, I did something completely wrong and I didn't realize this because I was kind of manipulated into doing it until it was too late. And so that's like, ooh, that's tough. But I mean, when it's all said and done, I thought it was a good movie, and I really liked the ending. I thought it was interesting because it was like the ending, they the remaining people, I'm not trying to spoil everything, trap the reveal, the monster that ends up coming up in the movie. They trap the monster in like this pit in the basement, and the monster's like, I'll get out of here someday, and then I'll haunt you for the rest of your life, kind of thing. And then it shows like him in like the near future where it's like he sees something kind of weird and scary outside, so he outside his room, so he goes and runs and closes the door, and then he looks at his bed, he sees a little bit of his hair in the bed, he's like, and then the monster ends up popping behind him, and then he turns out, and then cuts to the end credits. And I thought it was interesting how that happened, because it was kind of like how when I was younger. Because right now, if I go and watch a movie, I just need to go watch a movie. But when I was younger, if it was weird or disturbing to a degree, I would be a little nervous the rest of that night, kind of thing. So, for instance, I think it was, I might be wrong, I want to say it was Batman Returns. It was the old Batman movie with Penguin and Catwoman in it. The scene where Catwoman becomes Catwoman, where all the cats are like biting her and whatnot, that scene really freaked me out. And I had a cat. So when the movie was done, I go to bed, I have the door open, and I'm looking, and I see my cat just standing there, and I'm like, oh, go away, cat, go away. I was just a little kid. I didn't know. I was scared. But it kind of gave me that feeling, not like I was going to be scared, but it kind of gave me that feeling that it showed me that feeling that I had a long time ago, and I thought it was pretty cool because I haven't really seen that in a movie at the end of the movie. How they did it and whatnot. It just it didn't give me the feeling, but it showed me the feeling. Because I thought of that feeling, I was like, that's how I was like when I was younger a little bit. Whenever I would see a scary movie, and then I'd be afraid of the dark for a bit, right? I mean, who's not afraid of the dark, right? Everyone's afraid of the dark. It's like my favorite H.P. Lovecraft quote. The greatest fear of mankind is fear of the oh, my bad. Mankind's strongest emotion. I'm botching the crap out of the quote, but the idea of it is the strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown. And you're in the dark, you turn the light off, there's nothing. For all you know, you could turn a light on and a monster pops up in the corner of your closet smiling and, "Hey boy," or whatever. Or, something scary like that. Or like that one Crypt TV short. I forgot what it was called, but the girl's on her phone, and then she kind of she's like on her phone, and then she looks off to the side, kind of notices something, but she's like, oh, that's weird. And then at some point she turns the phone, and it's like this big monster that runs out, and then she gets freaked out, obviously. But I mean, like, it's kind of like everyone's afraid of something. And I think the problem with horror movies now is that it's just been around for some time. That's like, how I don't think you're gonna be able to scare people anymore because of like everything that's already out. The best thing you could do now is make a good story, right? And it's like horror movies. The original idea of horror movies was to scare people, right? But when was the last time you went to a movie theater to watch a movie and actually get scared? I mean, there's jump scares. So, like, you get scared of that, but, like, literally get scared because the movie itself, the idea itself, was pretty scary. I mean, I do, because I think about the ideas, and if I were to be in those shoes, I would be really nervous, kind of thing. But, like, it's been a long time since I went to a movie and was actually scared. There was a movie I went to see, and I didn't get scared watching it, but the idea of it and whatnot was kind of realistic, and I was like, hey, that's kind of interesting. In which case, I'm actually reviewing next week. So I'll be talking about that movie a lot more next week. But, anyway, I'm Sam. I'm your thirsty guy for BodyBags. I did a Cobweb, and if I had to rate the movie right now, I'd probably give it a 7.8, with the only problem being that the first half was kind of boring, or at least the first act was kind of boring, obviously. It doesn't really pick up until about 40-ish minutes into the film, I think. Maybe 30, but still. The end, the people would probably watch this movie and probably guess the ending and whatnot, and it's like, I'm gonna, not done yet. I'm gonna rant a bit. People would go and like watch movies and then try to guess in the beginning. It's like, I get that, right? But it's like, if it's an easy thing to guess and you're like, that's gonna be that, and then it's that, and it's like, I got it. That sucks. That's not new or anything. It was super easy. It's like, what if you just sat there and just watched? And like, I try to sit there and just watch and try not to think about it, because, if I'm right, it's like, haha, I'm right. But then again, I'm like, I got it right. Cool. That's cool. Because it's like the reveal is supposed to be a secret. You're not supposed to know it. You're not supposed to guess it. So you're supposed to know it when the movie tells you it, right? And so it's like, I try to sit through the movie without really thinking about what's going on. Or like, I'll think about, like, I wonder who the killer is, but I'm not going to go and take a deep dive and, like, take a wild guess because of X, Y, Z. It's like, I think it's this. Even though that wouldn't be the worst thing ever to do, but sometimes it's just easy guesses, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm Sam. I'm your thirsty guy for BodyBags. Did Cobweb, 7.9 out of 10, and, yeah, nothing really bad with the movie, honestly. Y'all should check it out sometime. I don't know if it's probably not on Tubi, although it is probably at Walmart. and for 10-15 bucks, I would say that's worth it. If you're gonna watch it once, and maybe you watch it a few more times if you watch it with some buds. But anyway, I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye.